Hey guys, my name is Martin, also known as 808, and in this video I'll be showing you how ILLENIUM, Debian and Lights made their recent single Hearts on Fire. One of the key elements in this song is the acoustic guitar. It's playing this melody throughout most of the song, so during the verses and the pre-choruses. Please note these key switches over here, which try to replicate the sound of an actual guitar doing the key switches. And that sounds pretty realistic, I think. And then in the outro, the melody is different, different bass line notes, but again, I used the key switch function over here. The guitar is a picked acoustic by session guitarist, Synths Instruments. And on the mixer channel, there's not too much going on, just some EQing to give it a more warm and analog vibe. That's what I used Radiator and Cerise for. A normal EQ to cut some of the low mids to remove muddiness, to remove some resonant frequencies, and to add the highs a little bit. Furthermore, there is a reverb going on to make it a bit more spacey, and a filter that's automated throughout the entire song. And at the end, as I mentioned before, there's the outro guitar that's slightly different from the guitar that's played throughout the rest of the song. Once again, I used the key switch function over here. And finally, there is this reverse guitar part in between the first drop and the second verse, which sounds like this. So I created this by just rendering the original guitar, just this part. And then reversing it using this button over here. Next there is a piano layer, which is playing these bassline notes in this first and the second verse, but in the pre-chorus it's playing more comprehensive chords. These chords are also played in the second part of each drop, but with this top line melody on top of it. The piano is a noir felt, which is a very nice piano in my opinion. It's a really warm sound and it's very easy to tweak using these knobs over here. So it's very easy to get the sound you desire. Then there is this sound which I like to call the whistle synth, because it kind of sounds like somebody who's whistling. This is actually a basic preset in one of the 4 Silent One main sound banks. I tweaked it a little bit, and additionally it kind of sounded out of tune, so I added this auto tune to tune it better, and the reverb to make it far more spacey and less dry. Now let's have a look at the main leads in both drops, and they consist of 2 layers, the first being an electric guitar. And a distorted cello. Please note the pitch bends, which are the same for both sounds, to get this smoother transition on this note and this note. And I achieved the distorted sound with a guitar rig. It's the white and crunchy preset. I didn't tweak it at all. And that's a rule of thumb I like to use. If something sounds good, even if it's a preset, then I'll just use it. Underneath the lead sounds, there's a few layers. First of all, there's electric guitar chords. Not much going on the mixer channel here, just an OTT to make it a little more crunchy and tight. And some sidechaining. By the way, I will make a video about my favorite ways of sidechaining very soon, so make sure you subscribe and stay posted. Then there's 2 synth pads. The first one made in Spire. It's a basic preset from one of the main sound banks. Didn't tweak it too much. I think it sounds pretty nice and warm. On the mixer channel, I penned it to the left, and there is an OTT, once again to make it more crunchy and tight. And there is this matrix pad. It's from the Retro Machines library in Contact. This has some really nice vintage retro sounding synths. And on the mixer channel, once again, there's only an OTT and it's pan to the right. And some sidechaining. Then there are a couple of bass sounds. The first one being this one. It's a preset from Diva called Furry Animal. It's a funny name. I tweaked it a little bit and I think there's not much going on the mixer channel. No, once again an OTT. You can tell I like that plugin. Then there is a sub to provide the low end. This is a preset from Sublab. I only decreased the release because otherwise, whenever the note would stop playing, the sound would still continue for 1 or 2 seconds. So I decreased it to 300-400 milliseconds. And in the verses, there is this Reese bass. This one is made in Silent 1 and has nothing going on the mixer channel. Finally, there are 2 sounds that I didn't address yet. The first one being this heavy guitar bass. It's a Scarby Rickenbacker bass and it serves as one layer of this fill within the drop and at the end of the drop. It's heavily distorted by Guitar Rig 6. It's using the Rampfire plugin and a few other ones, and it really gives this crunchy, heavily distorted sound, which I really liked. And the other sound I didn't address yet is the chord arpeggio, which is a sound made in Serum. And there's not much going on except for an OTT. As you can see, I really try to keep my mixer channels simple. Because I used to over-process my sounds and that often ended up in my sounds sounding worse than they did without any processing going on. So that's a valuable lesson I learned. Now that I've discussed the synths and instruments, let's go to the drums. There's 2 different drum sections. First, there is the more orchestral sounding drums in the verses, and then there's the more electronic sounding drums in both drops. The orchestral drums mainly consist of Kashmir samples, so you have this deep kick, the same kick but shortened, a high orchestral drum which serves as a snare. This is filtered throughout the song. There's a low tom over here and a filtered tom over here. On top of these there is this hi-hat sound, but in fact it's a white noise. It's actually an exhaust from the Kashmir pack. But I tweaked these settings so whenever you play it short on the piano roll, it sounds short as well. And also I used Pancake on this one to make it pan every 3/4 of a bar. Then, as I said, the second drum section consists of more electronic sounding drums, which can be found in the drop. There's a kick. 2 snares, both from the Virtual Riot pack. Some hats. A tom fill. Once again, the rhythmic noise. And the high orchestral drum, which served as a snare sound in the orchestral drums. And now the filter is opened up a little bit more, so it has more high end now. And on top of that, there is a crash at the beginning of the drop and I think halfway through. To make the song more interesting, there are several effects. The first being a low impact from the Kashmir pack. Then there is a clean sweep, another sweep, a reversed vocal effect, which ILLENIUM used to introduce the vocal more smoothly and also to serve as a nice transition effect. Then, as a layer in the fills in the drop, there is this guitar effects feedback. And finally, there's this glitch effect. I think it doesn't sound super similar to the one ILLENIUM used, but I think it does its job. I hope you enjoyed watching this tutorial as much as I did creating it. Please like, subscribe and let me know in the comments which song you'd like me to remake next. Here is the full remake.